Hello, welcome to Buzzin' with Cousin Talk. I'm your host, Cousin Johnny. How's everybody doing out there? I'm here in a classic old trolley called the Glory. I got a special guest. It's getting close to Halloween, so I thought I'd bring a special guest in, Gary Munsinger.
Hello!
He's a historian, and he's the owner of the Ghost Tours of Old Monterey. So Gary, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, cousins. Good to see you. Look at that. Here we go.
Welcome to, so Gary, so where'd you grow up and how did you come to Monterey?
Well, I spent, I'm a native Californian, born in the beautiful hamlet of San Bernardino. And then at an early age moved into the Orange County area, and at a very young adulthood was fortunate enough to move to Malibu, California. I spent about 30 years in Malibu. I had a little house on the beach, on the sand, and one fateful day in 1991 there was a shark attack in front of my house that actually took the lives of 2 Pepperdine students.
Oh, wow. And
I kind of considered that an omen. And so I decided that I would move up into the Monterey area. I lived it up here, and I was into horseback riding, so I rode with some of the local trainers here.
Very good spot, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great spot. So we used to hang out at the Pebble Beach Equestrian Center. So that's how I ended up in Monterey.
Okay, Gary, so how did you, being from Los Angeles, how did you get into the history of Monterey and the ghost stories?
Well, that's a good question. Spent a winter in London, and I took the Jack the Ripper tour, which I thought was a really interesting and fun evening adventure around the old streets of London. Pretty spooky type of a thing. And
yeah.
When I came home, I read the book Ghost Notes from Randy Reinstead. I think a lot of people might remember Randy, or he's still around. And I applied the Ghost Notes book to the different structures and old Spanish adobes within the city. And I realized that each and every building has some legendary stories, legendary haunts associated with them. And so almost 20 years ago, I compiled a folder, a notebook of the different stories that applied to the different buildings. And then I started giving the tour. First 5 years of that tour, I probably learned something every night.
Yeah.
There's always a new facet to the diamond that is Monterey.
Monterey, that's one thing about Monterey. You're always learning, and
there's always
actually,
something out
Gary,
there.
you wrote a book.
Right, it's at the Monterey Library. You can get it at the library, Ghost Walk of Old Monterey. Some of the photographs from our old tour, and of course, look at that. There's even a spooky business card inside here. And then, we have some of the stories of the different adobes and the different people.
Yeah, let me just go over a couple of them. And the Stokes Adobe.
One of my favorite. It just opened up, by the way. I think
Stevenson House.
The Stevenson House.
Casa Munris.
Casa Munris, yes.
The Soto Adobe, Laura
Soto Adobe, yes.
Wow, that's
first haunted house in Monterey.
Miller Adobe.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot of
buildings.
Well, now, didn't you, when I had a conversation with you earlier, you said that Monterey is the second most historic?
Number 2 in the nation with historical landmarks within a city limit, only to be outdone by Williamsburg, Virginia.
Wow, great.
So there's a lot of adobes here. There's a lot of beautiful old buildings.
So
we were the Boston of the Pacific, the main port of entry to the California territory. So there was a lot going on in this little tiny town.
So did you say how long have you been doing this tour?
20 years.
20 years.
Almost 20 years. It's a long time.
On the ghost tours.
That's a lot of ghosts.
Monterey.
A lot of ghosts.
Gary, if you have time, can you tell us a story?
Well, I thought I would do something a little funny. I would kind of tell you a couple little stories. Really not all just ghost stories, but stories that pertain to the different buildings. This is Rachel Holmes and Thomas Larkin, the are associated with the Larkin Adobe, which I think is a wonderful place.
You know, Gary, I went to Thomas Larkin Elementary School.
Oh, did you really?
On Spaghetti Hill.
Well, you know, Thomas Larkin was a spaghetti kind of a guy. Let me tell you. He had some interesting history with Rachel Holmes. She was actually a captain's wife on her way out to meet up with the captain here in the Pacific, California. And her and Thomas got caught on the same ship together and went through a terrible storm. Somehow she ended up here in California a few months pregnant.
Something like that.
Luckily enough, maybe not so much, her husband passed away during that journey.
Oh.
And so she came here, and the rest is history. Of course, we have Hattie Bragg of the old Stokes Adobe. We got Jane Stokes.
This is intriguing.
Of the Stokes Adobe. Incredible photograph of somebody that we had not seen for about 150 years, appearing nightly at the newly opened Stokes Adobe, and associated with Maria Josefa Soto, the wife of James Stokes, a great part of my ghost tour. I love Tiburcio Vasquez, the Zorro of Monterey, who was involved with a murderous, scandalous plot with Encarnacion Ortega Sanchez. So those are some of the great stories here. Actually, Monterey was founded on my birthday.
Wow.
In 1770 with Saint Junipero. He's a saint today. And then they founded the San Carlos Cathedral, the beautiful old fortress. Monterey is named after this guy, Count Monterey.
The Count. Yeah,
that is the Count. Old Count Monterey was a wealthy, powerful man appointed by the King of Spain. He was very, very fortunate. Monterey, of course, means royal mount. Proof the Count was lucky in more ways than one. Then, of course, Jack Swan of the old First Theater. Had a lady up on the front porch of the First Theater one night claiming that it was the First Theater. She spun around mad as a bee, told me it was no theater, called it a bordello. X-rated paranormal experience. Then, of course, Manuel Soto and Doña Feliciana from the Laura Soto Adobe, cursed by the birth of their son. Great story. Oh my good. Mr. John Miller, the Miller Adobe, took his own life right next door to the Panetta Adobe, or the Gertrudes and Panetta. And of course the Stevenson house I call the French Hotel. We love that place. Here's a picture of Manuela Girardin looking down at my tour. You can see everything at toursmonterey.com and just click on the ghost button.
Perfect.
And then of course there's right here, Doña Esteban Munros Catalina Manzanelli Ponce de Leon, who's associated, of course, with Casa Munros. This was their huge ranch, which is now downtown Monterey.
Okay.
So this picture here shows like all of their holdings. That's Munros Boulevard, like up there.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So and the old Munros Hotel. Few people know that William Tecumseh Sherman served here as a lieutenant. Yes, and he fell in love with Maria Bonifacio. Bonifacio Plaza is where this little lady...
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Great story,
Yeah.
right? They have a love affair, which was unheard of in those days.
Yeah.
And then he went off to the Civil War. She was left, without the man. And poor old lady was so upset that she lived the life of a spinster. Died at the age of 88. And this rose bush that she is under is called the Sherman Rose, and you can see those yellow pale roses all around Monterey. Still today, the Bonifacio was moved up on Mesa Drive. Ghost Tree of Old Pebble Beach, wonderful place, very haunted place. This is the old Mexican jail. Yeah, and this guy was Mr. Simon. He was a good friend of Robert Louis Stevenson. He had a little he ran a little cafe out of the jail. Oh, that jail was tough. American diplomats in the early 1800s were thrown in jail and they sank up to their knees and urinated mud. Mr. Belcher was hung at the Cooper Adobe for cheating at poker.
Oh,
Check that story out. Whaling station over there, last whalebone sidewalk of Old Monterey.
Oh, yeah, by the Fisherman's Wharf.
By the Fisherman's Wharf. Washington Hotel, many shootouts at the old Washington Hotel. This is a great story associated with the Sanchez treasure. And of course, I've got Napoleon here because we have a house built out of the ship that saved Napoleon from exile, the Abrego Adobe. So there's another great story.
Nice, yeah.
So, that was pretty quick, but you can see that there's a lot of great things to explore in this beautiful city.
Yeah, that's really great. Now, the Casa Monroe's the hotel. The restaurant is called Esteban. Is that?
Don Esteban Monroe was the man who built the building.
Okay, yeah.
So one night we have a ghost tour, and we're at Casa Monroe. This is years ago. We go upstairs. We had the whole run of the building way back when, pitch black, big huge room, about 30 or 40 people on the tour. Next thing you know, this woman next to me turns around and just grabs my arm. She goes, "You blankety blank, blank, blank." And she's actually pulling the skin off my arm. Pointing across the room, she sees what she described as a man dressed like Abraham Lincoln standing in the corner of the room, which is actually Don Esteban Monroe to the button, exactly how he dressed. And she starts screaming, "This thing is over there," and I'm pulling a trick. It's got to be a hologram.
Yeah.
Everybody in the room panics. They run to one side of the room and they're looking at nothing. She's looking at something, and I kind of focus in on the area she's pointing to. There was gray, silvery fog, iridescent, and it kind of just moved across the room.
That's crazy.
And went through a solid wood door, right through the door.
Yeah.
I was the first one down the stairs on that tour. I pushed everybody's like,
I don't think I'd want to be a night auditor there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that hotel. I interviewed like 40 or 50 workers there, and they all had incredible stories. Incredible stories.
Yeah.
Just like this incredible guy, Johnny Alley. We love him.
Stokes is kind of an interesting character.
And the Stokes just opened up. So Stokes actually came here as impersonating a doctor. He was one of our first real con men of early California. During his reign as doctor in Monterey, 42% of our town died every year. He ended up taking his own life with poison, which led me to believe that he may have poisoned many people in this town.
Yeah.
Probably our first serial killer, not really a doctor. So that's another really great story of the Stokes Adobe.
The thing about Stokes is he's portrayed as a hero. When you walk in, he's got the big photo, and you think, "Oh, that's James Stokes."
Wait, in the during the time of the 1833 restaurant, that was true, but I was there the other night and the big photo is gone.
Okay, yeah.
So there's new owners, there's new things going on at the Stokes Adobe.
Good.
And let's help them out. Let's let them, help them
Yeah.
keep it open. So definitely everybody needs to go check that out, especially during the Halloween season. I mean, if you can get in that building in the next few days, or at night, whatever.
Go in and grab a drink or grab an appetizer.
Take photographs. Use your flash indoors, and we do have a ton of photographs and things on our website. So if you go to toursmonterey.com, that's our Carmel Valley wine tour. But if you scroll down, there's a button that takes you to the ghost tour of Old Monterey.
Okay, so Gary, you do the tour every Saturday or seasonally?
We only have one more tour, and that's next Saturday night, and it is sold out, unfortunately. I will, though. Breaking news! I am going to do ghost tours December 10th and 11th, which is the Christmas in the Adobes.
Oh, that sounds
when
good.
the Adobes are open. So you can go to our website and buy tickets for what I call Ghosts in the Adobes tour.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
so normally you're seasonal then, what?
And that'll end the season until
April to what do you do?
Yeah, we'll open up probably next September
Okay.
for the ghost tour.
Okay, that's really great.
And then, of course, we always do our wine tours. We have the wine trolley. We're in our trolley, the Old Glory, right now. We leave from downtown Monterey, Fisherman's Wharf number 2 in front of the Dust Bowl at 11 a.m. We drive out. We have our own wine tasting room out in the village. So we start off at our wine tasting room. We have about 24 local wines. We call it Taste Carmel Valley. And then within our tasting room, we have a little bakery called the Sweet Spot. We do homemade cookies, and so I'm a busy guy. So we do the wine tours. We have the Sweet Spot Bakery. We also have balsamic vinegars, olive oils, ice cream, chocolates. We've been making chocolates lately. Really good. We take a little bit of that marzipan and mix it with some good heavy Cab Franc from Boete.
Nice.
Marzipan and Cab Franc, and you put that into some dark chocolate. We serve Boete wine Chalk Rock with the Carlson family. I have Mesa del Sol, which is a very rare hard vintage. We're packing in some Rancho Carmelo Pinot Noirs, and then Lynn Sakasagawa with Carmel Hills, and don't forget Gary Sinet with the white Merlot and the different sparkling wines.
Okay, yeah.
So we got a huge selection of wines.
And it's a nice atmosphere. You got some umbrellas out there. It's like being like a European atmosphere. Is it on Delfino? Or?
9 Delfino Place. We open from 11 till 5 most days. We close on Mondays. And we do 4 pours for $12. Nice. So you get four pours for $12, and we always added a little something extra.
Yeah,
can't help doing that.
I mean, check out Carmel Valley. What a place! The weather's always
the Valley Village. Beautiful.
The weather's always great. There's a lot of things to do out there. I just like to go and relax and have some nice wine. Gary, this is I really appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being on.
And,
happy Halloween to everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming on and sharing the Ghost Tour with everybody. And I've been on it myself, and it's cool. It's a little creepy, but it's very educational.
A little creepy. It's really scary. Come on.
One thing about that I enjoy is the history of Monterey. Because I grew up here, so I really like the history of Monterey. So Gary, appreciate everything.
Happy trails, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Again, you can check us out at toursmonterey.com.
Toursmonterey.com. Ghost Tour. You've got the Sweet Spot, and you also have Carmel Valley Wine Tour.
And cut!
Okay, thank you, everybody. And everybody have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
There you go. Thank you.